I was about 13 years old when I first found my dad's old collection of Friends DVDs and decided to give the series a try. And I wasn't a loser or anything, I had friends at this point in my life, but I didn't ever have like a group of friends, and so seeing that concept on TV immediately enthralled me. I immediately spent the next 5 years of my life trying to put together a friend group of my own before I realized something that I don't think anybody has ever realized before. That TV is not actually like real life. I think that bit of emotional context is important because today I'm going to be talking about TV friend groups and how absolutely absurd they are when you compare them to real life friendships. I mean, from the drama and the romance all the way down to like hanging out every day and just never getting into any serious arguments, having friends on TV seems like way more fun than having friends in real life actually is. And I know that it's obvious that TV is different from real life and that I might as well be making a video about how The Office isn't like an actual office. And that video is coming, but first I wanted to explore the tropes that exist in TV friend groups despite being a rarity in real life friendships. And by the way, I actually really love all the shows that I'm about to talk about, and that's not just a disclaimer to get me out of trouble with fans. I actually kind of mean it. Also, massive spoiler warning for these shows. Okay, let's get started. Here we go! To start, I just want to talk about the everyday relationships between friends on television, and I think that there's no better show to start with than Friends. Friends is a wily, tricky little show that'll tell you that your friends will come hang out with you every day and always love you no matter what, and that is a lie. So let's throw off our It's Just TV glasses and really dive into how the friends on Friends are friends. Friends kind of establishes its rules very quickly. The pilot episode starts with this montage of them all hanging out, presumably for hours, in a coffee shop before they meet Rachel, a runaway bride and spoiled brat who proceeds to hang out with them every single day for the next 10 years. And watching Friends as a kid, I kind of thought that this was how having friends would work when I was an adult. I thought that I would have a group of 5 or 6 friends that are the only people that I hung out with every single day for years on end. But that's not really how it turned out. In fact, I have a bunch of friends, not all of whom like each other, and certainly not all of whom hang out with me every day. Jesus, I'd be lucky if I saw some of my friends once a month. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't imagine seeing my closest friends every hour of every day. I kind of hate my friends most of the time. We all do. It's normal. I think the appeal to this trope is that people like the idea of having a bunch of friends around to constantly support you no matter what's going on in their lives, but think about if you had to do the same for all your friends all the time, especially if one of them was new to your friend group like Rachel is in Friends. You don't actually have to imagine it, I'm just gonna act it out. It's a YouTube commentary video. Of course I prepared a small sketch.
Okay, so I went out and got one of these jobs that you guys are always talking about, and I could not find one.
Alright,
so
dude,
I ended
shut the fuck up!
I swear to God, man, I've had a long day today, and I'd rather watch you die than stop watching TV right now, and I mean that. I know you have a gluten allergy. I'd rather force feed you bread and watch you die than I would stop watching Rick and Morty, you fucking simpleton.
And that's what would happen to everyone. My biggest gripe with this trope is that even if the show kind of tries to point out that it's weird for them to hang out every day, they also usually try to illustrate it as symptomatic of how close the friend group actually is. And I just think that's a weird reasoning. I mean, sure, you can hang out with your friends every day, but you can also hang out with them once a month or something, and it doesn't mean you're less close. In the same vein, being a close friend doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I mean, people aren't always going to be at each other's beck and call, and they're not always going to be able to give each other emotional support, but that doesn't lessen their friendship. Friendships aren't about being intensely perfect all the time. I can go months on end without talking to some of my closest friends, and it doesn't mean that we aren't still close. It's more about the relationship and how you interact and how you guys treat each other that indicates how close you are. And who better to set an example for what close friendships should look like than me? I kind of hate my friends most of the time. Moving on, let's talk about hugging and kissing the boys. To cover this topic, we're going to take a look at the friend group in How I Met Your Mother, because while a lot of shows cover the love triangle, none of them cover it quite as weirdly as How I Met Your Mother. For those of you who've never seen the show, it's very similar to Friends in that it follows a group of friends in New York City, while their lead, Ted, tries to find the love of his life. And by find the love of his life, I mean constantly ignore the search for the love of his life while he tries to hit on his friend Robin. Then accidentally stumbles into the love of his life. Robin meets the group because she goes out on a date with Ted, who tells her that he loves her. She then rejects Ted, but still hangs out with the group every single day, while Ted pursues her. You know how friendship is. Finally, they date for a little while, but they break up when they realize that they're incompatible, though they remain friends. Friends who get to experience every intimate detail of every single person that their ex dates afterwards. Now, I know that people can still be friends after they break up, but really this close of friends? They're literally watching each other fall in love with other people over and over and over again. And from what I've gathered from relationships I've seen in the past, watching an ex fall in love again is a hard pill to swallow once. But I will give the show credit. It actually does explore the idea that being friends is difficult for Ted and Robin on multiple different occasions, which kind of helps me ease into the unrealistic nature of the friendship. But that's not even the weird thing about the show. The weird thing is that another member of their close friend group, Barney, also dates Robin. They date, fall in love, break up, and then all three of them still hang out together every single day. It's not even clean either. Here's the sequence of events. Ted and Robin date, then they break up, then Barney and Robin sleep together, then Ted and Robin sleep together until Ted finds out that Barney's fallen in love with Robin. So Barney dates Robin, then they break up, but then they sleep together again while they're dating other people. But then Ted admits to Robin that he loves her, but Robin loves Barney. So Barney and Robin break up with their significant others, date other people, get together, get engaged. Ted tells Barney he's in love with Robin, Barney and Robin get married, get divorced, then Ted and Robin get together. One time a friend of mine admitted to me that he had a crush on a girl that I used to have a crush on, and I almost killed him. Look, I don't want to say that this kind of relationship is weird, because I have a lot of people who actually have friendships that are similar to this in real life, but I do want to say that TV paints it as a lot easier than I think it actually is. When you're romantically interested in a girl who's not romantically interested in you and you pursue her anyways, that causes issues. When you try to date one of your friend's more serious exes, that causes issues. And when you and one of your closest friends are in love with the same girl, and she, who happens to also be one of your closest friends, is split between the two of you, that causes issues. And How I Met Your Mother actually explores a lot of these issues in really interesting ways. It's why it's one of my favorite shows. But at the end of the day, they always end up fine, despite the fact that they're constantly falling in love with and breaking up with each other. And I just don't know if in real life it would always end up fine. TV tends to favor romance, and therefore a lot of times bad friendships are just swept under the rug to make way for these new romances. But in real life, if your friend is actually doing things like this to you and being a bad friend, it might not be such a great idea to sweep it under the rug. To sum it up, if you're in love with a friend or a friend's ex, I'm not saying it's gonna go badly. I'm just saying don't expect it to go smoothly, because a lot of times it won't. Hold on, I just got a text from my friend. And he is in love with my girlfriend. Okay. Another thing that TV tends to sweep under the rug is fighting with friends, which makes sense. In real life, friends come and go, but you can't just kick an actor off a show because you want their characters to stop being friends. This is definitely a weird thing for me to talk about because I personally always hated it when friends fought on TV. It made me sad. But also I want more of it. I'm fickle, bitch. And fighting is a hard thing to tackle on a show that's supposed to be about friendship. Take, for example, Dan Harmon's Community. It's a show about a group of people who form a study group in a community college and slowly become good friends who make each other better people. This show is absolutely fantastic at writing friendship, and it's also absolutely fantastic at writing fights among friends. I mean, Harmon and his team do a great job at illustrating that underlying tension that slowly builds into a big, explosive fight. But still, I have to be the ruiner of all fun and say that it can never really nail it realistically, because at the end of the day, they're all still friends, despite the fact that they just had these huge personality clashes that proved they shouldn't be. The best example I can draw from the show is the group's fight with the character of Pierce. See, the entirety of Season 2 is about how Pierce doesn't really fit in with the rest of the group. And this is because he's racist, he's manipulative, he's just overall kind of mean, and he doesn't really get what it means to be a friend. These things all come to a head in the dramatic paintball war that they used to end Season 2. And yes, I realize how stupid it is to argue for realism in a show that ends its season on a dramatic paintball war. But in this finale, the group and Pierce finally part ways. But when they finally part ways, it's not because the group is fed up with Pierce, it's because Pierce is fed up with the group.
Oh, thanks. I'm done with you guys. I like the school, but I'm done with whatever you call this. Adios.
Yeah, the racist, manipulative asshole gets the dumping moment. What's more, they very quickly pushed that development under the rug the next season so that the group can all finally be back together again. Like, what? That's a big issue! That's not the only time something like this happens on Community either. I mean, the show is kind of built on this subtextual, slow-burning tension, but it's interesting to see the differences between what happens on the show and what would probably happen in real life. On the show, these fights happen all the time, but the only reason characters ever leave is if outside forces make them. Whereas in real life, I mean, like, you can fight with a friend and they'll never see you again. Or sometimes you'll fight with a friend, you'll stop talking to them for a couple of months, and then a little while later, you're just friends again. Like, people come in and out of your life. It's normal to adjust your relationships, and it's normal to lose friends sometimes. I mean, it's sad, but it's kind of just sad. This whole video is kind of sad. Okay, so it's sad, but a lot of times relationships just don't work like that in real life. I mean, like in TV shows, friends will often be together for 10 years, only making slight personality changes along the way, but in real life, that's just not how it works. I mean, like, I know a couple of people who have been friends with the same exact people for their entire lives, but I mean, like, I know a lot more people who have switched friends and lost friends and gained friends over the years. It's a whole big mess of friends. Now I'm going to cover a couple of smaller tropes I see in TV shows that don't make a lot of sense in real life. First, in TV shows, two close friends can often decide that they want to live together, and so they do, and it works out just fine. Never in TV shows do two close friends live together and it turns out horribly. And hey, that happens a lot in real life. Like, I know a lot of friendships that have become nuclear just because you now sleep like 2 feet away from the person. Second, you're in a friend group where everybody is either best friends with everybody else or you have a person who's fine with being nobody's best friend. Take Friends, for example. Ross hangs out with everybody in that group, but he's nobody's best friend, and like he doesn't have a best friend basically. Like everybody likes somebody else more than they like him, and he's just fine with it. Okay, he goes a little crazy in this show, and actually,
that sandwich was the only good thing going on in my life. Someone ate the only good thing going on in my life.
And finally, walking in uninvited.
Very sweet of you. Okay, I'll call you later.
Hey! How come your door's locked?
Alright, let's wrap things up. None of the points that I make here are really trying to challenge the quality of the show. Like I said before, I love all of these shows, and I think that they brilliantly write friendships and brilliantly write, like, clever storylines around common problems that face friends in their day-to-day lives. So I don't think any of these shows should be held accountable for any of the points that I brought up. I just don't think that they should be used as roadmaps for real friendships. I used to be really into watching shows like these and trying to figure out how the friends on TV were like my friends in real life, and after a while I just kind of realized that they're not. And at first it was a bit of a gut punch because, like, I thought that that's what real friendships were supposed to look like. So if mine didn't look like that, did that mean that I had bad friends? My friends don't hang out every day. We can't really date each other without everybody absolutely losing their shit. In fact, sometimes we can't even get lunch without everybody absolutely losing their shit. We're nothing like the people that they show us on TV, and I just thought that was a bad sign. But I realized I'd kind of been watching these shows with the wrong intentions. I was looking at them as roadmaps for how I was supposed to have friends, when in reality, they're just entertainment. Great entertainment, but like, they're supposed to make things a little bit easier. They're supposed to make things a little bit more interesting. And just because my life isn't like that doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. And again, I know it's dumb to make a video that says TV isn't like real life, as if I'm the first person to ever figure it out, but I wanted to make the video anyway so I could talk to people who might be like me. Because I know people like me exist who look at these TV shows and think that they're the weird ones, and I just wanted to say that you're not. A lot of these tropes are super duper weird in real life. They don't work, and just because you don't see your friends every day, or date them, or marry them, or always get along with them absolutely perfectly, it doesn't mean that you're weird. And if there is nobody else out there like me, well then, fuck. I really just made myself look weird. Okay, well that's all I got for today, so if you like this video, I've got more coming out soon, so maybe subscribe? And if you want to check out the channel, I've got tons of like skits and sketches and other shorts that I'm really proud of, so go check those out. Thanks for watching, bye.